Hey, what's up, guys? Doing another What's Next. This is on my number one light heavyweight in the world right now. He is the undefeated IBF and WBC unified light heavyweight champion, Artur Beterbiev. Beterbiev is coming off of his career best win that got him the top spot when he scored an impressive 10th round TKO victory over previously undefeated Alexander Votzik to unify the IBF and WBC world titles. Huge win right there. He just showed so much composure. He was outpointed in that fight. What's his name was winning on 2 of the 3 scorecards, Votzik was, but it was close. And Beterbiev just kept grinding and coming at Votzik. So, good, strong performance by him. He knocked him out in the 10th round impressively and has 2 titles now. So, now he was set to make his his IBF mandatory title defense next against Meng Fanlong. That was supposed to happen on March 28th. Excuse me, one second. The fight got postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic, and that fight is still supposed to happen next. They are going to face each other because he has to hold on to both belts. I think he's going to do that. So the question is going to be, what's next for Beterbiev after Fanlong? And we really don't know. He said after that fight he was going to open discussions with Beterbiev to unify belts. But nothing, now that the coronavirus happened and that fight didn't go on, we don't know what the hell's going to go on after. So let's run through the top 10 and see what's next for Artur Beterbiev after a proposed victory over Meng Fanlong. We start with, obviously Beterbiev's number 1. We start with number 2. Huge Russian showdown with Sergey Kovalev. Does he go after this fight? I think Beterbiev would take this fight anytime, even over a unification. It's a fight he's always wanted. I know they fought in the amateurs. Beterbiev really wants to fight Fanlong. Really wants to face Kovalev. But, Kovalev is coming off that knockout loss to Canelo. He's talking about moving up to cruiserweight. His next fight, he was supposed to fight Sullivan Barrera at a catchweight of 180. But he has bigger fights. Instead of moving up to cruiserweight and facing the big boys that hit harder, he has better fights and more winnable fights at 175. Does he want to go back to 175, though? That's a big question. Does he want to make that weight? He says it's draining him. So, we don't know. Honestly, I'm leaning towards he's probably going to be a cruiserweight. But that fight would draw more money. It'd be more prestige to come out and become a 4-time world champion. So, and I think Kovalev has a chance to beat him. I would pick Beterbiev now, but I think Kovalev would have a chance. So, I think Kovalev, after he fights Barrera, he's really going to look at his options, and see what he wants to do. I do think it's possible. I'm going to lean towards the less likely, but I do think it's possible after Beterbiev and Fanlong fight in a unification bout, or for the unified title. Now, number 3 is Eliter Alvarez. Not going to happen after the Meng Fanlong fight. They're both with top rank, but the thing that's going to hold it up is Alvarez has 2 fights and Beterbiev only has 1 coming up, because Alvarez is competing in the 4-man box-off to declare the next WBO champion. The belt's vacant. Canelo vacated it, gave it up to move back down in weight. So the WBO ordered a 4-man tournament to determine the new champion. Alvarez is facing Joe Smith Jr. in the first round, semifinals. And then he'll meet the winner of some Shumanov or one of a Russian fighter, and I think Maxim Vlasov is also fighting him. So he'll face the winner of that, and he'd be the favorite going in. So I think Alvarez is going to be the next WBO champion, but Beterbiev is going to want to fight while Alvarez is claiming the title in the finals. So maybe after that the fight would be possible, but the next fight after Fanlong and after Alvarez, in my opinion, beats Joe Smith Jr., I don't think it's possible, so I'm going to say no to that one. Number 4 is undefeated WBA champion Beterbiev. Absolutely think this fight can happen. It's the fight that Beterbiev was talking about. If he really wants to go for it, he can make the fight. Beterbiev is with Matchroom and DAZN, but I think it's pretty damn close to a 50-50 fight, and I don't think Eddie Hearn would mind at all bringing Bivol over to ESPN to make the fight happen. So really think that fight's possible. I'd love to see it. You know, and I think that's probably what he's going to try to do next after he's done with Meng Fanlong, but we'll see. Number 5 is a rematch with Alexander Vocek. I don't think it would happen next. I mean, Vocek is, he said he's thinking about going into a final eliminator in his next fight. He is highly rated by the WBC. You know, technically that would put him in line, but does he want that fight immediately after? I'm not sure about that. He might say, hey, I believe I can beat him. And he did say he took the wrong approach against Beterbiev, and that's why he lost. So he's not making any excuses. He's just saying he believes he can do better. So I think it is possible. Vocek might have to mandate that fight if he becomes the mandatory challenger. He's got to win a fight first, though. Vocek's got to come back and win a mandatory fight. So I'm going to lean towards the less likely, but definitely could happen after Beterbiev and Meng Fanlong. Number 6 is a showdown with WBA regular champion Jean Pascal. I mean, wouldn't completely rule it out. Pascal's, you know, wants to unify belts and face the best, but Pascal's got a good little thing going with the PBC right now. He's lined up to face Badu Jack in a rematch, and I think that's a more beatable opponent for Pascal. So I think he's probably going to stay with that. But you know, after that, if he walks out the winner, which I don't think he will, which is why I don't think this fight's going to happen. If he were to beat him again, though, yeah, I think he'd be riding a wave of confidence and say, fuck it, I'll fight Beterbiev, I don't care. So, yeah, I think the fight is possible. I think Beterbiev might want to face, you know, bigger names or better fight guys in the top 5, but I wouldn't completely rule out a fight with Pascal because he's got a bigger name, and I don't think anybody would pick Pascal to stand a chance against Beterbiev. So Beterbiev might look at it like an easy win, and, you know, he'd unify belts with that win. So we'll see. Number 7 is Marcus Brown. I don't see this one. Brown just doesn't bring anything to the table right now. He's a top 5 guy, but he doesn't really bring a lot to the table, so I don't think this fight's possible. Number 8 is Badu Jack, the former 2-division champion. I like Badu Jack, but and I think he's going to beat Jean Pascal in his next fight. But then after that, I think he'll probably go after Marcus Brown and stay in-house with the PBC. I don't see Mayweather Promotions, which promotes Jack, working with Top Rank and ESPN. I don't see that, so I'm going to lean towards the no. Number 9 is undefeated Gilberto Ramirez. I mean, if Ramirez solves his issues with his contract with Top Rank and comes back and fights, you know, takes a preliminary fight to become the mandatory challenger, because he is number 1 in the WBC right now, I definitely think him and Beterbiev could fight after that in a mandatory title fight. But is Ramirez going to work out that deal? He doesn't seem to want to fight for Top Rank anymore. He hasn't fought in over a year, you know, and you know, it just looks unlikely that him and Beterbiev could fight each other, you know, after the Meng Fanlong fight. So I'm hoping it's an option, but I don't think it's going to be. And then finally at number 10 is Joe Smith Jr. Not going to happen. Joe Smith's competing in the 4-man box-off against Alvarez. If he loses, it wouldn't be a fight worth taking for Beterbiev, which I think he is going to lose. But if he wins over Alvarez and advances on to the finals, he wouldn't be available to face Beterbiev next. So, all right, that's it for the top 10. Now, what do I think Beterbiev is going to do next after he supposedly beats Meng Fanlong? I really think he's going to go after the Dimitri Bivol unification bout. I think that fight makes most sense. And it would be for higher regard. You know, I mean, it's a fight you could probably get easily, and it's going to be truly to have 3 of the 4 world titles at 175. I think that's what he's going for. Plus, both undefeated champions, and I think people truly believe that Bivol is maybe the best or the second best in the division. That's what I believe. And I believe Bivol has a good chance of beating, you know, Beterbiev. So definitely could happen. You know, but it's, you know, it's kind of up in the air. We really don't know, but I definitely think it could happen because Bivol's desperate to get the top dogs in the division. Most of those guys have been avoiding him. So that's the best option in my opinion. I think other options would be if Kovalev was there as a possibility, take that. If Alexander Vocek became the IBS final eliminator and mandatory, I think that's an option. And then outside ones would be Gilberto Ramirez, if Gilberto Ramirez and Jean Pascal. Pascal, if he beats Badu Jack, he's not tied down to any promotion. He can fight anybody. And then what's his name? Gilberto Ramirez, if he works out the contract and were to become the WBC's mandatory #1 contender, then maybe. But that's what I think for Artur Beterbiev, my #1 light heavyweight in the world right now, at 175. That's his what's next. I hope you enjoyed it. True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.